Hello everyone, this is Rick Passek, the Fly Fishing Fanatic, and welcome to another edition of On the Bench, sport fishing on the fly. Today we'll be tying a nice heavy stonefly pattern. It's quite natural, the colors in it. It's all using hare's ear for dubbing, and then just some Sili legs for the legs. Deadly pattern. It's on a jig hook, so this will ride that way because of the bead and everything, right? But and because of the way it hooks up. But you can tie this in a 10, a 12, even in an 8, even in a 6. But today I'm just going to be tying it in a size 10. I've got a Hens BL 144 in a size 10. I usually tie these either with a Hens or with an Ahrex. My Ahrex jig hooks, I ran out of the size 8s and 10s, so figured I'd do it on a Hens. For the thread, I'm going to be using some classic waxed from Semperfli in wood duck. For the legs, I'm going to be using some Sili legs. These are pumpkin green and orange from H&H. For the rib, Semperfli wire in 0.2 silver, 0.2 mil. And for the body dubbing, I want a little bit of flash in it, so I'm going to use some Hens Hair Dubbing Plus. You see it's got a little bit of sparkle in it. If I didn't want the sparkle, if I want to go really natural, I would use the just this straight hair dubbing from Hens. Okay, and then right around the collar area, I want some longer fibers, so I'm actually going to use the hair mask, and I'm actually going to use the hair right off the center here, the spikier, longer feathers, hairs. I keep calling it feathers. Okay, fairly simple pattern. Just going to start my thread. I'm not worried about how my bead is sitting right now. Just start my thread off, and then I'm going to get my bead sitting the way I want it, and I'm going to see I'm pushing the bead forward, and then I'm actually going right across the bead with my thread to create a bit of a dam right behind it so it doesn't move. Now, if you want this really heavy, throw a layer of sticky back flat lead underneath it, or use a tungsten bead. This is not a tungsten bead. Okay, so now I'm just going to create just a little bit of a bulge. I'm just going to go around the corner a little bit with the thread, creating just a little bit of a wood ducky orange hot spot. But then I'm going to come back right to the top there, put my finger there, and then just go right up against my finger. And that's going to create a bit of a bump. Okay. Then I'm going to get just one strand of the Sili leg here. Yeah, these are absolutely deadly when just dead drift this. Let this just dead drift down the river. And yeah. Now, I tie these fairly simple like this for a very important reason. Because these things ride right down in the rocks, you lose a lot. So on my side, I'm just going to tie it in right up against that bump. A couple of wraps there, and then I'm just going to make sure that this is staying on right along my side. Okay, right up against that bump. And you see how that kind of pushes that leg out because of that bump? That's what I want. Then I'm going to come forward just 2-3 wraps. Take my leg, move it to the other side, and do the same thing. Now I'm just going to turn it just to make sure that I am on the side like I want, which I am now. So again, right along the side, I'm going to make this about the same length right now. Just make sure that stays right where I want it. Tie that down all the way. I'm just going to wrap my thread forward here and back and forward. I'm just trying to even up the body. It really, for this pattern, doesn't matter because we're going to be putting dubbing in anyway. So you're not going to see it, but it's always good to do. So it's just more of a habit. Now I'm going to take some of that 0.2 mil silver wire and put it right there on top. Bring that all the way back to the leg tie-in point. And just keep that out of my way. Now, I just use a little magnet just to keep stuff out of my way. Okay, so now that that's in, I'm going to take my hair dubbing plus, and I'm going to use this number 22, the third one in here. 1, 2, 3, this one for the body. Now you can tie this in black, you can whatever colors you want, right? It's all up to you. Just change up your, change up the legs and the bead and stuff like that to match. Now this one is a black bead that I've got on there. Normally I would like to have a gold bead on here, but once again I ran out. I do have a smaller one, but a smaller bead, but I like having these bigger beads on here. I want this to be as heavy as I can make it. So as soon as it grabs, I'm just going to twist. Just give it a twist, tighten it up, tighten it up, tighten that up. Okay, a little bit more. Yeah, like I said, I want this to be heavy, heavy, heavy. I want it to get down really fast. So putting in a layer of lead underneath, or having a tungsten bead, or in this case, an oversized bead is great, right? So, okay, where'd that last little bit go? There we go. One last little bit here. Just going to go back over top a little bit. I want that to be a little bit thicker. Okay, good. Okay, now I'm going to just wrap this wire forward. It's a little bit for segmentation, but it's also just to help just keep this fly together more than anything. So I've tied that off. Just gonna helicopter it. Then I'm gonna take my little popsicle stick with Velcro on it and just give that a little bit of a brush out, just to make it a little bit buggy. Okay. Now, I'm going to take that rubber legs again, and I'm just going to I'm holding it right up against the side there. And I want to make sure it's staying right along the side. So even if I have to turn it a bit just to see, I have to undo it a bit. It didn't stay exactly where I wanted it, so there we go. That's better. Right along the side. Now, just for ease, I'm going to just cut these roughly a little shorter, just roughly, just to get them out of my way a little bit. I have to get another piece here of the Sili leg. And I'm going to do the same thing on your side. Now I'm going to turn it just so I can see better. Just want to catch that in with the barred side out if possible. It's been a bugger. There we go, I think. We got her. Yeah, there we go. Just to make sure, again, just making sure that it's right along the side. And just give that a couple of wraps. And I'm going to wrap a couple in front. Okay, now I'm going to wax my thread a bit. Even though it is wax thread, it just helps. And then I'll just pick out some of the forehead hairs here. This stuff here, this stuff, you can see how it's spikier and longer. That's what I want. It's just that I don't want the underfur. I want the longer, spiky stuff. So let's see how that goes. Get a little bit of underfur, that is fine. Not going to hurt anything. And then I'm going to go in between. This will help hold the legs apart. and then in front, and back in between again. Need a little bit more hair here. Now, if you want it really spiky, take some of the stuff off the ears. The ears is it's not as long, but it's a lot stiffer, so it'll spike out even better. So, and I do want a fairly predominant thorax section here. I want this to stick out. Right, so I'm just going to hold those out of the way and just come through there one more time. 2 more. There we go. And then come back in front again just to whip finish it. I like doing at least 2 sets of whip finishes. And I'll go in and put some head cement in there later on. I usually tie up a dozen or so and then I'll put head cement in. So now I'm going to come out, hold them out, and I want them about 1 inch long, maybe a little bit less, 3/4 of an inch. So just cut them like that. And then just eyeball match it about like that. Maybe a little bit too long on this side. And there we go. Now I just give it one last little brush out. Make sure that thorax is nice and bushy and anything that's loose comes out. But nice and spiky. And when that gets wet, that'll slick right down. And that's it. That is the little hare's ear stonefly, if you want to call it that. So, yeah, super simple. I should actually shorten that tail, those back legs just a little bit. Not a lot. Just a little out of proportion there. That's better. Alrighty. Super simple. Ride like that. Like I said, super simple to tie and very, very effective. A very effective pattern, being so buggy. And yeah, just make sure you've got them in bigger sizes as well. There's some big stoneflies out there. So, alrighty. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and thanks for tuning in to another edition of On the Bench with Sport Fishing on the Fly. Tie lines.